The studio lights were bright and warm, and the audience seats were full, and the cameras moved smoothly above the stage, and everyone could feel that today was different from the usual show. The host, Whoopi, sat with her notes on the table, and she smiled like she always did, and the crowd clapped loudly as the music faded. People expected a comedian or a singer, but the guest today was a royal guard, and that alone made the room curious. His name was Ben, a simple name, and he walked out with a calm face and steady steps, and he stopped at the exact spot the staff showed him. He gave a small polite nod, and then he sat down with his back straight, his shoulders even, and his hands resting neatly on his knees. Ben looked different from the usual guests, because he did not scan the crowd, and he did not wave, and he did not lean back to relax. He held still like a man who had trained his body to obey his mind. The audience whispered softly, because they were not used to seeing someone so controlled under so many lights. Some people smiled, because they thought it was serious in a funny way, and some people stared, because they felt respect without knowing why. Ben kept his eyes calm, and he listened to the sound in the room like it was part of his job. He did not look nervous, and he did not look proud, and he did not look angry, and he looked like a person who had learned to carry duty inside his chest. Whoopi started with a friendly tone, and she welcomed him, and she said she was happy he came. Ben answered in a quiet voice, and he thanked her, and he spoke with clear simple words. Whoopi asked how long he had served, and Ben said many years, and he did not add extra details, and he did not try to impress the cameras. She asked what his daily training was like, and he said it was strict, and it was based on routine, and it was based on control. He explained that his job was to stand when others moved, and to watch when others looked away, and to stay calm when others panicked. The audience listened, and the room settled, and the clapping stopped, and the attention became sharper. Then Whoopi leaned forward and smiled with playful energy, and she asked the question everyone wanted to ask. She asked how he could stand for so long without moving, and she made a small joke about how she could not stay still even during a long movie. The audience laughed, and the laugh rolled across the room like a wave. Ben did not laugh, and he did not react, and his face stayed calm. The stillness on his face made the laughter grow louder for a moment, because the crowd thought he was acting like a statue on purpose. Whoopi laughed too, and she pointed gently and said he looked like a museum figure. The crowd clapped again, and some people shouted small teasing words, and the atmosphere became light and playful. Ben stayed silent for a short moment, and he looked at the host, and then he looked at the middle distance, like he was checking his own thoughts before speaking. He did not look offended, but there was something careful in his eyes, like he had learned to measure every moment. He said that discipline was not about looking strong, and it was about being ready. He said that training was a promise, and a promise mattered even when nobody was watching. The words were simple, but they had weight, and the audience grew a little quieter. Whoopi nodded, but she kept the playful mood, and she asked if he ever wanted to break the rules and just relax like everyone else. The audience chuckled again, because it felt like a normal talk show moment. Ben answered slowly, and he explained that when he was young, he also thought discipline was only for strict people. He said that as a child he lived in a small place, and his family did not have much, and his mother worked long hours. He said his father was not around much, and he learned early that life could change fast. He shared that he once saw a crowd rush in fear during a public event, and he saw how quickly people could get hurt just from panic and confusion. He did not describe anything graphic, and he did not chase drama, and he kept the story clean, but the message was clear. He said that when fear enters a place, even a small mistake can become a big problem. He said that his training taught him to be the one person who does not add more panic. He said that the body learns habits, and in a hard moment, habits decide what happens. Whoopi listened, and she tried to keep it light, but she also looked more thoughtful. She asked if it was hard to be so serious all the time, and she joked that she would fail the training in 1 hour. The audience laughed again, but this time the laughter was softer. Ben stayed steady, and he said he was not always serious, and he was a normal man at home. He said he liked quiet walks, and he liked simple food, and he liked reading in the evening. He said that duty did not erase a person, and it shaped the person. He said that his job was not about being perfect, and it was about being dependable. He said people trust the guard because the guard does not follow feelings in the moment. He said feelings can change quickly, but duty stays. The crowd was calmer now, and some faces looked guilty, and some looked respectful. Ben kept speaking in a calm way, and he explained that many people do not see the boring part of duty. He said they see a uniform, a posture, and a silent face, and they think it is only tradition. He said that behind that silence there is practice, and there is patience, and there is a mindset built over years. He said that standing still is not the goal, and it is only a tool. He said the real goal is control, because control keeps others safe. He said if he moves at the wrong time, it can create confusion, and confusion can spread fast in a crowd. He said that sometimes the most powerful action is no action, because calm can guide others better than noise. Whoopi shifted in her seat, and she glanced toward the audience, and she smiled again, but her smile was different now. She asked one more playful question, and she said if he ever had to deal with people trying to distract him. The crowd reacted, because they knew what she meant, and some people laughed as if they were ready for a funny story. Ben looked at her, and he paused, and he answered with the same calm voice. He said distractions are part of the job, and he said some distractions are harmless, and some are not. He said the guard does not judge the person in front of him, and he judges the responsibility behind the moment. He said the guard cannot choose the easy day, and he must be ready for the hard day. He said that the world is full of people who want attention, and the guard learns to not give it away for free. The studio had changed, and the laughter was not leading the room anymore. People were listening in a different way, and the quiet felt heavier. Ben did not raise his voice, and he did not try to shame anyone, but his calm made people think. Whoopi tried to bring back the fun energy, and she smiled and said he was making everyone feel nervous for joking. Ben nodded once, and he stayed respectful, and he did not attack her. He only said that humor is fine, and laughter is good, but respect should come first. He said it is easy to laugh at discipline when you have never needed it. He said that many people survive because someone else stayed disciplined when it mattered. Ben stopped talking, and the room stayed quiet for a short second. The silence was not awkward, and it felt like a pause where everyone was checking their own thoughts. Whoopi looked at him, and her face softened, and she seemed ready to reply, but she waited. Ben kept his posture, and he kept his hands still, and he stayed the same calm man under the bright lights. The audience did not clap yet, because they were still processing his words. And in that moment, Ben was not just a guest in a uniform, and he was not a joke, and he was not a statue. He was a mirror, and the studio was about to hear one line that would change the mood even more. The silence in the studio felt heavy and slow, and everyone could sense that something important was about to happen, and Ben kept his eyes steady and his posture straight, and he did not rush his words as he began to speak again. He said that many people see a uniform and think it is only cloth, but for him it was a promise to protect, and to serve, and to stay ready even when tired and even when afraid. He said that when he stands still it is not because he wants to look strong, but because he wants others to feel safe. He said that safety is built by small steady actions that people do not always notice. The audience leaned forward, and some people folded their hands, and some people stopped smiling, and the room grew quiet in a deep way. Whoopi looked at Ben, and she nodded slowly, and she asked him what made him choose this life, and Ben shared a simple story from his past. He said that when he was young he once saw a crowd move in panic at a public place, and he saw how people pushed and how fear spread faster than words. He said that in that moment he felt small and helpless, and he promised himself that one day he would be someone who could bring calm to chaos. He said that promise stayed with him through years of training and long nights and hard days. The audience listened with full focus, and no one interrupted because the feeling was honest and real. Ben said that discipline was not about being strict to hurt people but about being steady to protect them. He said that a guard is trained to stay clear when others are confused and to stand firm when others shake. He said that when he stands in one place for hours, it is not empty time, and it is active focus. He said that his eyes watch every movement and his ears listen to every sound, and his mind stays ready to respond. He said that people feel calm around someone who does not react to every small thing. He said that calm is like a shield that spreads to others. Whoopi looked thoughtful, and she asked if it was hard to be so serious when others were laughing, and Ben answered with kindness. He said that laughter is a gift and he enjoys it in his own time, but when he is on duty he puts that aside. He said that duty is not heavy when you understand why you do it. He said that he is not missing joy and he is saving it for later. He said that when his shift ends he goes home and enjoys simple things like quiet meals and slow walks and soft music. He said that balance is what keeps him whole. The audience felt closer to him now, and some people nodded and some people whispered small words of agreement. Ben continued, and he said that many people think strength is loud, but real strength is quiet. He said that loud strength tries to be seen, but quiet strength only tries to do what is right. He said that his training taught him to respect every moment because any moment can change fast. He said that when you stay focused you can see trouble before it grows. He said that this is why he does not move unless he must. Whoopi smiled and she said that she did not expect such deep answers, and Ben smiled softly for the first time. It was a small smile and it did not change his posture, but it changed the feeling in the room. The audience noticed and some people smiled too. Ben said that people often think discipline is cold, but it comes from care. He said that he cares about the people he protects even if he never speaks to them. He said that he cares about their safety more than his comfort. He said that this care is what gives his job meaning. The host then asked if he ever felt misunderstood, and Ben nodded gently. He said that many times people laugh or make jokes because they do not know the work behind the stillness. He said that he does not blame them because not everyone sees what he sees. He said that his goal is not to be liked, but to be trusted. He said that trust is built by being reliable again and again. He said that when people know he will not move unless needed, they feel safe around him. The room stayed calm and full of attention, and Ben then said a line that felt like it touched every person in the studio. He said that when others laugh at discipline it is because they have never needed it to survive. He said that when the world is kind discipline feels old, but when the world turns hard discipline becomes a shield. The audience felt the truth in those words, and the quiet became even deeper. Whoopi looked at him with respect, and she did not smile this time. Ben continued, and he said that he has stood through rain and heat and long nights, and he has done it not for praise but for peace. He said that when people walk by him without fear he knows he has done his job. He said that peace is not loud and it is built by many quiet acts. He said that his stillness is one of those acts. The audience began to understand that what they had laughed at was actually something strong. Whoopi took a slow breath, and she said that she had not thought of it that way before. Ben nodded, and he thanked her for listening. He said that talking about it helps people see beyond the surface. He said that every role in society has a purpose, even if it looks strange from the outside. He said that respect grows when we try to understand each other. The audience started to clap slowly, and the clapping grew louder as more people joined. Ben did not change his posture, but his eyes showed quiet gratitude. Whoopi smiled again, but this time it was a warm and honest smile. She said that she was glad he came and shared his story. Ben thanked her, and he said that he hoped people would see discipline with new eyes after today. The studio felt different now, and the mood had shifted from playful to thoughtful. People were not laughing anymore, and they were reflecting. Ben sat there still and calm just like before, but now his stillness felt powerful instead of funny. The cameras moved slowly across the crowd, and faces showed respect and curiosity. And in that moment, the royal guard had changed the room without raising his voice or moving an inch. After the clapping slowed down, the studio stayed calm and quiet, and Ben remained steady in his chair, and the host looked at her cards, but she did not read them right away because the moment felt bigger than the usual show. Whoopi cleared her throat, and she tried to bring back the normal mood with a light smile, but her eyes were serious now, and she asked Ben if he ever had a moment on duty that changed him forever. Ben looked down for a short second, and then he looked up again, and he said yes, and the audience leaned forward because they could feel a real story was coming. Ben said that a few years ago he was assigned to a day that was supposed to be simple and peaceful, and the city was full of visitors and cameras and bright flags, and everything looked safe on the surface. He said he stood at his post like always, and his mind stayed sharp, and his eyes watched the crowd without judging anyone. He said that most people in the crowd were happy and excited, and they wanted photos and memories, and they wanted to feel close to history. He said that many people waved and smiled, and some people laughed and made jokes because they thought the guards were only part of a show. Ben said that during that day he noticed a small detail that felt wrong, even though it was not loud. He said he saw a man in the crowd who was not watching the ceremony but was watching the exits and the security lines and the timing of movements. He said the man kept shifting his weight and touching his pocket and looking down at his phone in a way that did not match the mood of the crowd. Ben said he did not panic and he did not react suddenly because sudden reactions create fear. He said he used the calm training inside him, and he moved his eyes without moving his body, and he signaled quietly to the team in the way they were trained to do. The host listened with full attention and the audience stayed silent, and Ben continued in the same calm voice. He said that the team watched the man carefully, and they saw the same signs Ben saw, and they moved in a controlled way. He said no one in the crowd noticed because the team moved like a smooth shadow and they protected the public without creating alarm. He said the man was guided away and questioned, and the situation was handled before it could become something dangerous. Ben said that later that day he saw families still smiling and children still holding small flags and people still taking photos, and he realized something important. Ben said that most people never know what is stopped before it starts, and that is the true work of discipline. He said that people think safety is normal, but safety is often protected by quiet people doing hard work without praise. He said that day reminded him that his stillness was not empty, and his calm face was not for tradition. He said his calm was a tool that kept panic away and kept innocent people safe. Whoopi slowly nodded, and she admitted that she had never thought about it that way. She said she always saw the guards as part of a picture, and she never imagined the mind behind the posture. Ben said that many people see the uniform first and the human second. He said that he is not angry about it because he understands how easy it is to judge from the outside. He said that his job taught him to be patient with misunderstanding. He said that patience is part of discipline too. The host then asked him if he ever felt lonely in that kind of life, and the audience reacted softly because it was a deeper question. Ben took a slow breath, and he answered honestly. He said that there are days when he feels alone because he cannot share everything he carries. He said that he must stay professional and quiet even when something hurts inside him. He said that people think he has no feelings because his face stays calm, but inside he has the same heart as anyone else. He said that he once lost a close friend from his training days and he had to return to duty the next morning because duty does not pause for grief. The audience felt the weight of that, and some people touched their faces and blinked slowly. Ben said that on that morning he stood in his place and he kept his posture and he kept his focus and he did not break. He said that inside he was carrying pain, but he used his training to hold it quietly. He said that later when he finally got time alone he allowed himself to feel and to remember and to breathe. He said that this is what discipline also means. He said it means you carry what you must carry until the right time and then you heal in a safe space. Whoopi's voice became soft and she said she was sorry for his loss, and Ben nodded and thanked her. He said that loss taught him that discipline is not the absence of emotion. He said it is the control of emotion so you do not harm others with your own storm. He said that a guard learns to be steady not because he is made of stone but because others lean on that steadiness. He said that people need to see calm when they feel uncertain. The studio felt deeply connected now, and even the crew behind the cameras looked still. Whoopi then asked Ben a question that surprised everyone. She asked if he had ever wanted to quit. Ben paused for a moment, and the quiet became sharp again. He said yes, and he said that there was a time when he felt tired and unseen, and he wondered if it was worth it. He said he went home one evening and sat in silence, and he thought about choosing an easier path. He said he was not ashamed to admit that because every human feels weak sometimes. Ben said that the next day something happened that changed his mind. He said he was walking near the edge of a busy street when he saw a small boy drop his toy and step forward without looking. Ben said the boy was just a few steps away from danger, and the boy's mother was distracted for a second. Ben said his body moved before fear could even rise, and he stepped quickly and guided the child back safely. He said the mother turned pale and grabbed her child, and she began to cry with relief. He said she looked at Ben and she thanked him again and again, and she said that she would never forget what he did. Ben said that in that moment he understood something simple and strong. He said that duty is not always a grand ceremony. He said it is often a small act at the right time. He said that the world is full of moments where someone needs calm help. He said that day he decided he would stay. He said he would keep training and keep standing and keep protecting because it mattered. Whoopi sat back and looked at him with respect, and the audience began to clap softly again. Ben remained calm and steady, but his eyes looked warmer now. The show had started with jokes and laughter, but now it had become something meaningful. And the crowd could feel that the biggest turning point was still coming because Ben was about to reveal the one thing he had never shared on camera before. The clapping faded again, and the studio stayed quiet and warm, and the host looked at Ben like she was seeing him in a new way. Whoopi leaned forward, and she asked what he meant when he said there was something he had never shared on camera before. Ben stayed still, but his eyes looked softer, and the audience could feel that the next words would be personal. He took a slow breath, and he said that discipline saved his life long before it became his job. He said that many people think he was born strong, but he was not, and he said that the calm face people see today was built after a hard past. Ben said that when he was younger he lived in a small place where people struggled, and money was tight, and hope was not always easy to hold. He said his mother worked long hours and came home tired and still tried to smile. He said that as a teen he often felt angry because life felt unfair and he did not know where to place that anger. He said that some boys around him chose fast trouble and they tried to pull him with them. He said that at first he followed them because he wanted to feel accepted and he wanted to feel powerful for once. He said that one night those boys planned to do something reckless and Ben went with them even though his stomach felt uneasy. He said they walked through dark streets and laughed too loud and tried to act fearless. He said that in one moment everything changed when a small mistake turned the night into panic. He said that someone shouted and people ran and sirens came closer and Ben felt his heart pounding like a drum. He said he saw a younger kid nearby who looked frozen with fear and the kid was shaking and did not know where to go. Ben said that in that moment he remembered his mother's face and her tired eyes and her quiet hope. He said he understood that if he made the wrong choice then he would break her heart forever. Ben said he grabbed the younger kid gently and guided him away from the chaos and they ran until the noise was behind them. He said they hid behind a wall and both of them were breathing hard and the kid began to cry. Ben said he did not know why but he placed a hand on the kid's shoulder and told him to breathe slowly. He said that while they sat there he felt something change inside him. He said he realized that real strength was not acting wild and loud. He said real strength was choosing calm when fear was trying to control you. Ben said that after that night he went home and his mother saw his face and she knew something had happened. He said she did not scream and she did not insult him. He said she only sat beside him and held his hand and told him that one bad night does not have to become a bad life. He said she told him that discipline is love in action. He said she told him that when you control yourself you protect your future, and you protect the people you care about. Ben said those words stayed in his mind like a clean light. He said that later he found a training program that welcomed young people who wanted a better path. He said the program was hard and it demanded routine and respect and patience. He said that many days he wanted to quit because his body hurt and his pride was bruised. He said that every time he wanted to quit he remembered his mother's hand on his and her quiet voice telling him that discipline is love in action. He said he kept going one day at a time until his mind became stronger than his excuses. Whoopi looked down at the table and her face was serious and her voice became gentle. She said she had joked earlier because she thought discipline was only a show. She said she now understood that it came from pain and from hope and from real choices. Ben nodded, and he did not shame her. He said people laugh when they do not know the story behind someone. He said he once laughed at discipline too. He said, understanding changes the heart. Whoopi took a breath, and she looked at the audience, and she admitted that sometimes on television people treat guests like entertainment instead of humans. She said she was sorry for that, and she said she respected Ben for staying calm even when the jokes were flying. Ben thanked her, and he said apology is also a form of strength. He said it takes courage to correct yourself in front of others. The audience began to clap softly again, and the clapping felt supportive and warm. Then Whoopi asked Ben what he would say to people watching at home who feel lost or angry or tired. Ben looked toward the camera for the first time in a direct way, and the studio felt still again. He said that anger is a real feeling, but it should not be a driver. He said that pain can talk loud inside the mind, but a person can learn to answer it with calm. He said that discipline does not mean becoming hard. He said it means becoming steady. He said that if someone feels like life is pushing them toward a bad road, they should find one small routine that pulls them back. He said it could be waking up at the same time. He said it could be learning a skill. He said it could be helping someone who needs support. He said small steady actions can rebuild a life. Whoopi listened with wet eyes, but she did not cry openly, and she kept her voice steady. She said that one line Ben said earlier stayed in her mind. She repeated it slowly. She said it is easy to laugh at discipline when you have never needed it to survive. The audience stayed quiet because that line now felt even deeper. Ben nodded, and he said that line was not meant to hurt anyone. He said it was meant to wake hearts up. He said that respect is easy when life is comfortable. He said respect becomes real when you meet someone carrying a story you do not know. The host stood up slowly, and the audience followed her with their eyes. She walked around the table and stopped near Ben. For a moment, the studio felt like a different place, not like a show but like a real meeting between two lives. Whoopi held out her hand. Ben stood up in a controlled way, and he took her hand with respectful calm. Whoopi said, "Thank you for teaching us without attacking us." Ben said, "Thank you for listening, and for giving space for truth." The audience rose and clapped louder than before, and the cameras captured faces full of emotion. Ben stood with the same posture, but his eyes looked bright. Whoopi looked at the crowd, and she said that tonight was not just entertainment. She said it was a reminder that behind every uniform and every quiet face there is a human story. She said that the show would continue, but she hoped people would remember this moment. Ben nodded one last time, and then he returned to his seat with the same calm discipline. When the show ended and the lights dimmed, the audience left slowly, and many people talked softly about what they had heard. Some people said they came for laughs, but they left with respect. Some people said they would call their parents and say sorry for being careless. Some people said they would try to build routines and become stronger inside. Ben walked out of the studio without seeking attention and without changing who he was. And behind him the whole studio felt changed, because one calm man with a simple name had turned a joke into a lesson, and turned laughter into respect.